See, I told you guys not to worry. It's Guatemala.
It's pretty comfortable the way it turned out.
That's the way it ought to be, it should be. You know, I mean, it's just that at this stage, you know, there's certain Central American teams like Costa Rica and Honduras, you know, Panama has certainly stepped up that have remained, you know, fairly competitive. But, you know, Guatemala and El Salvador from where they were, you know, 10, 15 years ago has really dropped off a little bit. You know, why exactly, I can't say. You know, some of it might just be a generational thing, the generation that they have right now. Or it just might be, you know, just, you know, quality of their domestic league, things like that. But, you know, not, obviously Costa Rica's moving up because a lot of their players are playing overseas. Panama's moving up because a lot of Panamanian players are going into Colombia because basically it's right next door, so they're getting exposure to a higher league. You know, Honduras, the same thing. A lot of their players are going overseas, and that's just not happening. You know, so I mean, I love Carlos Ruiz. You know, he was a great player for me, but you know, if Carlos is still your main man at this stage, you know, that means there's nothing coming along underneath it. But you know, I mean, for me, it was never a doubt. So I don't. That's why I said the Chicken Little yesterday.
Did you get to catch the U23s, and what did you think of Jordan's performance, and does his 60 minutes impact whether he'll be available this weekend?
Well, we'll see. You know, I mean, I don't know what anybody's situation is till they get here, and I can talk to them because you don't know how their bodies feel and so forth. So we'll check in with everybody tomorrow. You know, they all get in today at various times. You know, some guys might come here and even get a little bit of work done before they go home. But we'll find out. I mean, obviously Jordan, the way they played down there and also the way they played in the first half where they were a little bit not confident, I guess is the best word, or a little bit afraid. You know, he was on his own up front, you know, and sometimes, unfortunately, that happens with our youth teams. I'll digress one more time. It's like when I was coaching the under-20 team, we played Spain. We played Spain in the round of 16 at the World Cup, and we got beat 3-2. We were down at halftime 3-0. They were killing us. Zabi scored the first goal. You know, they were killing us. And my whole halftime speech was, what do you mean? You guys can't jump with him because the guy's name is Rodriguez or the guy's name is Hernandez? You can't sprint with him? You know, it was just that confidence factor was missing. We went out in the second half. We scored 2 goals. We hit the crossbar. We hit the post. And Iker Casillas made about 3 great saves. You know, but we could have almost walked away from that game, you know, winning, you know, and we lost 3-2. We were the only team, you know, that was the year they won the Youth World Championship. We were the only team to score 2 goals on them. But the whole difference in our team was it was the same personnel that went out on the field in the second half, but it was their confidence, their attitude. And even when you looked at the U.S. team last night, even though they lost the game in the second half, but their aggression, their ability to hold the ball, their ability to play forward, all of a sudden improved in the second half, and it was just a confidence thing of, oh, wait a second, we can play with these guys.
I heard what you said about tomorrow, so I don't mean to pester you too much, but I mean, what was, is it your understanding that Joevin Jones came out yesterday with an injury?
You know, we had seen that, but until I talked to Joevin, I don't know. Yeah.
What do you tell a guy like Jordan? Yesterday he came out a little bit down. He seemed frustration. Do you think that is perhaps something to do with also his performance isn't sounder? Maybe he's having too much.
You know, it's a lot of responsibility for a young man. You know, it's his first year in the pros. You know, you look at Martinez, who scored the 2 goals for Colombia. I mean, he's already, you know, scored, you know, I think 30 goals on the professional level. He's got 50, 60 games under his belt already. It's a big difference. And Jordan is still at the beginning stages of that. And, you know, the thing is also when you go to play for your national team, it's just a natural thing. The players, they rise to a little bit of a different level because it's the national team. And then when you come back to your club team, you know, you love your club team, but there's a little bit of, whew, okay, and takes the air out. And so for guys not qualifying for the Olympics, I mean, that's a huge goal. It's a huge disappointment. And sometimes, you know, not only do you need to recover from the physical, you need to recover from the psychological disappointment.
Sigi, 3 games in, what's the outlook right now? Are you optimistic? Are you frustrated? Something else?
I believe in our team, and I believe in the way we're playing. I think we've played well over the 3 games. You know, I don't know if you caught Houston, Vancouver this weekend, but you know, Vancouver won on another PK, but this time the Vancouver guy who took the dive got suspended and fined going into the next game. So, sort of ironic. But, I think we've had a little bit of bad fortune. I don't feel that bad fortune will continue. That'll even things out. I believe in my players. We're all in this together still, and we're going to keep fighting for each other. And, so I'm very confident that we'll head going into the right direction. But the thing is, we can't be 3-3 until we go 1-3. So we got to take one step at a time.
This is probably a very sports writer-like question, but is this a critical game coming up, being 0-3 and trying to stop being 0-4?
Like I said, guys who've been around for a while know the only must-win game is a playoff game or a do-or-die game. Everything else is in relationship to your whole season. Obviously, to get ourselves going in the other direction, we got to take one step at a time. Can we take the first step on Saturday? That's our goal, that's our ambition, and that's what we will do.
Nelson seemed to hint that maybe Jordan might be shifting back centrally. Is that something that you're considering for this weekend?
We'll see. Right now, I don't really know. We got to check on guys and see how they're doing, and then we can make a lineup. We could talk about things today and say, okay, this is what I think. You're here, you're here, you're here. But all of a sudden, you talk to three guys, you find out that they're injured or tight or physically exhausted, because for them this would be their third game in 9 days. Then you got to make different decisions. So we haven't made any lineup decisions yet or formation decisions.
I'll phrase it a different way. That are you considering shifting what you guys have done for the first month? I'm given the off week and where you guys are at.
You always look at different options, and you always look at tweaking your team. And obviously when you are without a win at this stage, you got to, how can I maybe jumpstart this, So if that's something we've considered, along with probably 5-6 other options.
How important is it for this team to get off to a fast start quickly in the first 45 minutes, perhaps because of the results that they've been in the past? Is it important for them to get ahead early?
When we're at home, we need to get onto a team early. We need to jump on them. I think the last game we got off to a good start. I thought in the Kansas City game we got off to a pretty good start. So I think in our 2 home games so far we've gotten off to good starts. Now it's just a matter of taking that good start and making sure you produce goals with it, because like I've always said, every team dominates a game during a particular period of time, and the key is you got to score when you dominate and make sure they don't score when they dominate.
I know it's early, but what are your early thoughts on Montreal and Ignacio Piatti being one of those referenced players over there?
Piatti's a good player. I think obviously, he's now settling into our league. He knows what our league's about. He's a pretty special player. They're a pretty composed team. They like to keep possession of the ball. They've got a good mix of workers and guys like Piatti or Ontiveros and, guys like that who have that little bit of skill. They've added Harry Shipp, who's also a guy who's a little bit shifty of a player, crafty player. And then they've got some speed, obviously, up front with Aduro.
Do you feel your team has the right mix of workers with the Stars?
Yeah. I don't think we're short on the worker side of things.
For a guy like Olex, when he goes on international duty, what do you kind of hope that he gets out of it or accomplishes while he's gone?
Well, he continues to get exposures and continues to get experiences that are invaluable to his growth as a young player. And we've got to remember how young he is. And so playing at Trinidad, is a good experience for him, because Trinidad is one of those Caribbean countries who's always in and out of the hex. Some years they're in the hex, some years they're not in the hexagon, but they're a team that is a good measuring stick for you. So obviously him going away, he gets 2 games. He gets 2 games. That Darwin Jones doesn't get at this stage, that Aaron Kovar doesn't get necessarily at this stage. So anytime you can get games, it's a plus.
Did you have a chance to watch him at all in either one of those games?
Watched all of the first game. I thought I had recorded the second game, but it turned out that I messed it up. I didn't get it recorded, so I haven't seen the second game yet. I probably got to go to YouTube to watch it. But they got shellacked pretty good. So.
And just quickly, your thoughts on him in that first game?
Thought he was good. I thought he could have been very selfish on their second goal and scored that himself, but I thought he had good vision, laid the ball off square for an easy tap-in. I thought he had good moments. It's tough to measure because the overall strength of the team is not that good, in comparison to other teams. you know. But obviously, it's his country. It's where he's passionate about playing for, you know. But he's the kind of kid that if he had come to school in the States when he was in high school and was in the process of maybe, you know, having a chance to get a passport here in the U.S., he's probably a kid I would have said, why don't you wait before you throw your lot with them and see if something happens? You know, it's like Christian Roldan could play for Guatemala right now, or probably play for El Salvador right now, but or do you want to wait a little bit and see if maybe something happens with the U.S. down the line? You know, so because I don't think Guatemala or El Salvador are necessarily going to go to the World Cup anytime soon. So if he waits and nothing happens by the age of 24, you know, then maybe he throws his lot in there. And the same could be said of Olex, but Olex obviously being born there, living there, growing up there, has thrown his lot in there. And, you know, and if there's a good group, a good generation, like when Ezra played, you know, St. Vincent was a team that was, they were the Caribbean team that was in and out of the Hexagon series and stuff, and they were always on the verge. So he got a lot of good experiences there, but the overall strength of the team was better at that stage.
Have you had that conversation with Christian? Has he had interest from them?
Yeah, we've talked about it on numerous occasions.
One last thing here, I guess, you know, Clint Dempsey scoring yesterday, becoming the all-time leading scorer in the men's national team. I mean, how does it feel to have that?
Fantastic. You know, it's fantastic. It's fantastic for Clint. You know, I mean, records are made to be broken at the end of the day, and so that'll be broken sometime point. But you know, to score that amount of goals in qualifying is certainly a great honor. It's fantastic for him. It's great for him to get a goal, you know, as well, because you know every player wants that, needs that to just keep going with their own confidence level. But I thought it was a fantastic moment for him.